Hello again, friends. Welcome to another POV drive, and here's why we're here today. It's because, well, we have driven the Supra many times, and we realized we've never done a POV of it, which is not okay. So we're going to do a POV of the 3-liter manual Supra, which is good news. That's right, it is the 6-speed manual. Should have existed since they first released the car, but at least they have it now. One of the big pieces of news about it, you probably already heard it, is of course, this is a BMW underneath. I understand, we've heard all the discussion. We were worried about a BMW feeling manual shifter, and it isn't. There's a rubbery feel to a BMW, and people that like BMWs just like that. For example, this has got the pressure lockout for reverse. That's a very BMW thing. But the actual movement of the shifter is far more metallic than it is in a BMW. It's much more precise. Toyota didn't do a bunch of changes to this transmission, but the changes that they made definitely changed the feel and improved it. The other thing that was possible here, or required here, is this right here. This area of the BMW iDrive, that's, let's be honest, that's what that is. This had to be moved over about 2 inches. You can actually feel underneath. They moved it almost the distance of my fingers, 2 inches toward the passenger in order to create the proper placement for the manual transmission. I do appreciate that. Otherwise, let's be honest, this is a 3-liter Supra. Supra's always had a straight 6. Toyota didn't have a straight 6. They went to BMW. You've heard the story. That means 382 horsepower, 368 pound-feet of torque, which I'm pretty sure is a lie. I'm pretty sure it's more powerful than that. This, we have argued, is the best car BMW makes, and I kind of stand by that. Spec like this, with this blue paint and manual and all of the stuff that they do when they give out press cars, this one is $58,000, which you can look at that two ways. That's not cheap, but it is probably $15,000 to $20,000 of if you went and bought yourself a Porsche Cayman with equivalent specs, you're going to spend the better part of 20 grand doing that. So there's a savings, I guess. This does have rev match. It does have 6 speeds, and it has a clutch pedal. This is one of our favorite roads, not that far away from us. We've done various shoots on this road. We're actually shooting on this road in the next week, and I hadn't been on it in a little while, and I just thought, you know, I need to scout this road. What car should I take? I was going to take my Elise, and then I remembered no POV of this yet. So here we are in the Supra, and it's quick. It's quite quick. One of the big things this does is hide its speed. I think more than almost any modern car I've driven, I look down and go, no, I can't be going that fast. Yep, you're going that fast. That's what's happening. That's one of the better parts of the road, but I'm going to be nice. I'm going to wait for my next passing zone. Always good to have a little bit of etiquette. Rev match is excellent. You can't turn it off without turning off just about everything on the car. Speaking of that, let's go to sport mode. Ooh, a moose and her calf. Wow. Look at that. Right there. A moose and her calf. That's amazing. That is an everyday driver POV first right there. Okay. It's not even springtime. It's like midsummer. They're out for a walk. Cool. Okay, well, there, that happened. So let that be a lesson. Watch for moose. Now, I'm at middle of second gear, 3,500 RPMs on turbo, and the RV's gone. Also like you to know that I rolled into the throttle on that pass. I did not instantly floor it. This has a ridiculous amount of power, and that leads me to one of the things I want to talk about. I just spent a good amount of time in my Elise driving that for 2,000 miles, which obviously got me used to a sports car experience like that. This is about 1,300 pounds heavier than the Elise, which is crazy. You can't tell it from behind the wheel. It doesn't feel nearly that heavy, though of course it does feel heavier and more isolated. I'm not actually trying to compare the Supra and the Elise. I just want to say that's what I'm coming from in sports car experience in the last week or so that I can explain some other things about this and other modern sports cars. The Supra is wonderful dynamically. It feels really, really good to drive. It's also very on edge, and that can be good or bad depending upon what you like from a car. Most of the time on this car I am using 10% throttle. I love the power underfoot. In fact, I do feel like this is giving you more power than BMW claims, which is a BMW thing. But you barely have to roll your foot on the gas pedal to get a lot of power out of this. I wish it had a longer pedal travel. I wish it took more effort to get something out of it. And so you could fine-tune your throttle application a lot better. This has a very punchy throttle because it's so easy to get power. A little bit of throttle application feels like you already asked for all of it. I'd kind of prefer to have some nuance. There's full. Didn't even downshift. Hey, that was the edge of ABS right there. That was kind of fun. This wants to rotate under power, give it all the power in a corner, and it wants to have the back loose. But of course it does still have nannies that keep you defended, so there's not really much to worry about. The 3-liter has a ton of power. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. You may be used to 500 horsepower figures. You're not going to drive this and think, yeah, the Supra's kind of slow. But back to that overly precise gas pedal, that's true of the steering as well. Look at how little I'm moving my hands to get this car to do things. It's very abrupt off center. This is a sharp corner, and I've got what, 25% steering angle? This car is so quick and so easy to be quick. So I guess what I come away with on the Supra, which is an interesting thing to conclude, is that this is amazing to drive and it's very, very fast. I kind of wish all of the movements required a little bit more travel so that you could fine-tune them better. When they are this abrupt, when the distance is this short, little nuanced movements are far harder because you're only dealing with, you know, half the travel you would expect. And so dialing it back 10%, well, that's a micron. So that's one of my only critiques of this car, is that if you are a person who wants to kind of fine-tune the gas pedal because you're drifting, or you want to fine-tune the steering for the same kind of thing, or you're on a track situation or whatever, that you want little tiny bits of nuance, this is a difficult car for nuance because all of the movements are so minute for the car to have a lot of response. I'm not sure that's a critique, but it is a reality. killing fun. Should have turned them off first. That's okay. And I forgot how to shift for a second. Anyway, all right. Got all distracted by the nannies. When you push on this car, yes, it's definitely a front engine car. You can feel the fact that the engine weight is ahead of you. It kind of murders that outside wheel. When you're going into a corner, you can see that it's leaning over on that wheel. You definitely can feel that reality. I'm trying to find stuff to critique here because we have spoken so highly about the Supra so many times that we've documented how great it is. If you are a person who doesn't think the Supra's any good, please go drive one because they are excellent. If you're a person considering buying one or you're watching this because you bought one, congratulations because you bought an amazing car. Parking lot here and see who's camped out in this parking lot. Okay, yeah, the cowboys are here. All right, they're moving sheep and stuff around. This is where I live. This is what happens. Okay. All right, puppies. Hi. I won't bother you. It's okay. Happy puppies in the dirt. The small amount of travel applies to everything, including the clutch pedal. I mean, the clutch pedal has a tiny little bit distance of travel. The catch point is this minute catch point. And so even that is a difficult thing to kind of nuance. If anything, I suppose what I'm saying is the Supra is so on its toes, it's a little bit abrupt. And you may love that. With the way you drive it, you may find that really endearing. I find that I enjoy having to have a little bit more body travel in order to fine-tune what I'm doing in any given moment. As you can see, it's not, holding me back, making me frightened, causing me to slow down or freak out. This is so quick. Now, let's talk about Supra known downsides, things that people have discussed. There is the discussion of I can't roll my windows down, there's wind buffeting. That's not the reason I buy a sports car. Every sports car I've ever owned has always had massive wind buffeting. 300ZX, the FRS 86 was okay. The Lotus has a ton. So I'm a bad judge. I never judge a car based on that, but okay. As far as noise in general, when you get going pretty quick, you can tell there's wind noise around the A-pillars and the mirrors. You can hear it even with the windows closed. Most of the time, if you're driving in a high gear, I'll show you, 6th, engine's gone. What you really hear is the tire noise, and you can actually hear more of it from behind you than even in front. So you can actually hear stuff battling around and banging up against the back of the car, little road debris and stuff. That's coming from behind you. The other issue, of course, is getting in and out. People have trouble with these window sills, getting in and out. I actually don't have that problem getting in and out. I do have it in an unexpected place. The sills here, they obstruct your view enough, or they come in enough that when I look over my shoulder, I have to be careful with the camera on. When I look over my shoulder to check my blind spots, I almost always hit my forehead right here on the side. That's when it bothers me. It doesn't bother me getting in and out, but looking over my shoulder for blind spot, I almost always hit my head. They are, it is very much like a helmet on top of the drivers, and so they are close. That's something you can obviously get used to. The more you drive a car, the more you get used to it. I mean, that's the reason I'm able to get in and out of an Elise, is because it's a practiced body movement, and so I don't hurt myself. You would get a practiced body movement going with Supra, and you completely forget about it until some passenger jumped in and didn't know and hit their head getting in the car. You notice I'm having these conversations with you while I'm hammering down this road. Now, luckily, I do know this road. I've driven it many times, and I'm aware of what corners are coming, and they're clear in my mind. But I hope that comes across as just, this car's quick, and it's easy to be quick. And that is a victory. I really don't understand the vitriol and the anger this thing got when it first came out. It's so much better than most people think it is. And now that it has a manual, it's what it should be. Yes, it has a somewhat stiff ride. It has a sports car ride, but it doesn't have a punishing ride. Maybe the S-curves will be clear this time. Looks like it. Yes, please. I guess what I'm saying ultimately is the 3-liter Toyota Supra with a manual, if you've considered it, you should get one. They're very fun. They're very good. And they're better than whatever hate this car got. And the manual, it should have existed from the beginning. The 8-speed in this, the 8-speed auto, is very, very good. Please don't misunderstand me. But since the first year, Toyota has refined this car wonderfully. The manual was the thing it needed. Now it has it. And that is a huge victory for people wanting to buy a fun car.